I'd like to bless you out of the book of Job today. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil. And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. Also his possessions were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large household. So this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. I've gone through this book many times, and I remember a particular time when I had gotten to the end of verse 3, and the Lord asked me, who's like that in your world? Who seems to have everything? Who seems to have wealth and position and so much prosperity? So I thought about it, and I chose a couple that really seemed to have it all together, and I said, I guess if I were going to pick, I would think that they were kind of like Job was in his community. They're kind of like that in ours. And the Lord questioned me, and he said, what would you think if I stripped everything away from them, bit by bit? And I realized I would think God was judging them. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I would assume that they had done something wrong and they were being punished. I love the book of Job because it stands as a primer for us on how sometimes things in life don't make sense. And it's not always because somebody did something wrong. I find the wisdom that is in this book life-giving. I think it's my favorite book in the Word. And I wonder about you today. What would you think of somebody that was upstanding in your community, had the calamities that happened to Job? I mean, Job really wasn't clued in on the whole conversation that Satan had with the Lord. He just knew devastating loss after devastating loss after devastating loss. And he had to figure out how to walk through it. So I might be in this book for a little bit. We might go through the chapters and do some blessings here. Because life has loss. Hard things happen. And I think that if we look at Job, we both get permission to be honest about it, as well as a certainty that we're not alone, in addition to some nuggets of wisdom that often come when we're going through loss. So I hope that you'll enjoy this. Let's read a little further today. And his sons would go out and feast in their houses, each on his appointed day, and would send them and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. So it was, when the days of feasting had run their course, that Job would send and sanctify them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all, For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus, Job did regularly. And I'm sure if you've heard teachings on this book, you've probably heard one that says that Job doing that out of fear was why he got attacked. Here's the thing. When you're going through loss and you're going through devastation, it doesn't matter why, because you can't change it. You may be able to do things differently in the future, but right now, you are where you are. And who could say that what Job did justified what happened to him? A lot of times in life it doesn't. It's not that simple. Think about the last time you got in an accident. You didn't get out of bed that morning thinking you were going to have one. Maybe it was your fault, maybe it wasn't. But once it's happened, it's happened. The thing to remember, if you've read the end of the story, is that from God's perspective, this had the potential of perfecting his son Job. And as we go through life, we aren't responsible for the things that people do to us, but we are responsible for how we respond. And sometimes the greatest growth, the greatest perspective changes, the deepest wisdom comes forth when we are in the middle of being at the end of ourselves and not knowing how to go on. So as we go through this book together, I'm looking forward to sharing with you my insights. I'd love to hear some of the insights that you have. I think I have put my email out there if you ever want to respond. But we'll finish there for today. And I hope this finds you well and enjoying life. Blessings.